he made a complicated book uh, to understand what what is the main character is a detective who discovered this is first of all we it's not a spoiler show because there's nothing to spoil other than there seems to be a female detective investigating
Mm-hmm.
a situation in which an ex-boyfriend, uh, in Veracity, which immediately made me think of the villain in Sherlock Holmes,
Moriarty.
Moriarty,
Yeah.
and he has left an ex-girlfriend his estate and made her not an executor but an executrix.
Yeah.
Did you notice that in the book?
Yeah.
So immediately this guy is going after the puns and the jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah.
it a trick? Is it a trick? Her name is Oedipa, not Oedipus,
Uh-huh.
Oedipa. And what is the difference between Oedipa and Oedipus? We'll get into that. But let's hear
Yeah.
your initial thoughts of what are you
Okay.
after today? What are you going after today here? What
So,
do you
man, today, well,
what do you want?
let me pull up my notes. Okay, first and
Yeah.
foremost, I guess maybe I'll just do a slight intro, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen. Uh Today we
Oh.
are talking about the book that needs no introduction, The Crying of Plot 49. Wait, hold on. Oh no, my soundboard. Oh, there we go. Okay. We're back in business. Yeah. Okay. The
Yeah.
crying. Thomas Pynchon's Crying of 49, and I have it up, so it'll be I've had a picture of it up, so the
Oh, great.
crowd, the people watching the video will know. But
Okay.
so we're exploring this lovely novel, short novel, and we're just kind of going through it. There's a
Short and
lot,
dense.
short and dense, a lot to unpack, a lot. Let me pull up my notes. Yes, because I was taking notes too. And yeah, I think in terms of just the book, I started out, I think, where I went through a whole journey with this book. And
Yes.
like, I think I
Yes.
experienced both sides of the spectrum of what you were talking about earlier, where it was like you start out and you're like, what is this guy talking about? What is this craziness, these descriptions? What is he talking about? Where is he? Where are they? What are they doing? Why are they doing it? That was huge for me. And then you go and you read it, and so I went back and forth and looked through it a couple times, and by the time
Yeah.
we get to today, I'm like, this guy seems like he had a very good idea of what he was talking about and was hiding a bunch of stuff in plain sight. He wasn't even necessarily hiding it. You just have to be aware. You have to take the time to dig and delve into specifically what he's talking about. And yeah, it's a beautiful story, and there's a lot I want to unpack today with you here in this hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. That's my
Hour.
spiel.
It's going to take about 4 hours to unpack this little book.
Okay, yeah, we can split it up as as much as we can, as much as you would like. And so I'm gonna
Split
crack.
it up split it up the same way it split my brain.
Hey, let's make it happen. Okay.
And his brain was 100% split in the best way possible
Yeah.
for this book. Do you want to do synopsis first of the book? A
Sure.
little. Okay, so I took notes on this. I even took notes on the synopsis because.
Yeah, I have notes on
Okay.
the characters, but no, yeah, please start it off.
So it's Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
He's made up a town, San Narciso. So it sounds like narcissism, and he's describes early on Southern California in a particular way that is exciting in that she remembers opening up a transistor radio. Do
Mm-hmm.
you remember this? She opens up a transistor
Yes.
radio
Yes.
and she looks at the all the little pieces in the radio in the back, all the aspects of how it's put together, and
Mm-hmm.
she says,
Mm-hmm.
"This is what Southern California looks like." And so Pynchon immediately has kind of created this idea of what Southern California is, that it's like transistors, that the way the state is made is similar to the way a transistor radio is made, in that it's this grid. He Because California, the way it was built was like a grid. It's
Mm-hmm.
similar to New York, but there was nothing there, so they could start from scratch.
Sure.
And you were able to build this, LA and suburbs of LA, as as a suburban sprawl,
Mm-hmm.
that right from the beginning it was created in a particular way, so that you are living in kind of a not natural world. You're already in a prefabricated world.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
And
Uh,
yeah,
oh,
go
I
ahead.
just I just wanted to add in a quick note. I just was Googling San Narciso,
Yeah.
and so San Narciso, Saint Narcissus. So there's a Saint Narcissus from Greece, and I I I just want to see. Can you guess what his feast day is?
What his feast day
What
is?
is feast day? If you had a wild guess, if you had
I
a
would
wild
say April
guess,
Fool's Day.
close. It's Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween. Oh, that's
Uh-huh.
perfect. Oh,
Yeah.
right. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, that's the one thing about this guy, is that he does a lot of research,
Yes.
and he's incredible, and he'll make up names, and sometimes, and this is part of, he puts the reader in the same position as the main character, Oedipa,
Yes. Yeah.
that in the same way that she's doing an investigation to see what she's an executrix, pardon me. And and he is a billionaire. Did you understand that he was a very, very wealthy man?
Yeah, I mean that was his city. San Narciso was his city. He
Yeah,
built it, and then
but it's
Yo-Yo
beyond that.
died.
Every time you turn around, he's got he's got another corporation,
Sure.
another club, another. He just owns everything.
Yeah, it's his city. He built the
Yeah,
city.
yeah, yeah. You know what?
Yeah,
I
well,
didn't. I didn't even realize that he built the city. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They talk
okay,
about it. Yeah,
yeah,
something that I noticed in that same vein too. In terms, because I felt that so much. How we are, we're all rooting for her. But we're following on this journey with her too. We're discovering as she's discovering or uncovering as she's uncovering.
right.
This whole conspiracy, and I thought it was so funny that I suppose decide for ourselves at the end whether she was being played or like driven along this path, or whether it just kind of happened. And just kind of
Yeah,
like the meta of the book is that, yeah, that is what the author is doing to us, the reader.
right.
He's a man, and he's control and all these events are events that he is creating for us to go along with, or through along with, with Oedipa. It's a
Yeah.
whole, like,
Spoiler alert.
oh
We're
yeah.
not going to find out.
No, we never find
We don't
out.
find out.
Sorry,
It's all.
guys.
It's all about the mystery
Yes.
of how of what's underneath. What's You're not going to uncover anything. You don't find out if he was murdered, how he
Mm-hmm.
died, why he left her the money. You don't find out any of that stuff. So what is the mystery? So let me look at my notes here.
Yeah, yeah. Is he gonna show
She's
up at the
she's
end?
yeah, yeah. So she's just at first wants to know, like what happened, what are these holdings that she has. I mean, it's never discussed how wealthy she is, because I don't
Yeah.
know if she understands if she's wealthy or if everything was a prank.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she ever finds out. So okay, so then
Well, I think it says that she's at least like been protected from the world, I guess. Well, there's a better way of saying that, but she's like an innocent almost. Like she's going into this world and it's like she doesn't really understand, or like she's learning about the world. But it seems like everybody else already knows what's going on and she's the only person who doesn't. And so
right.
it's
Oh,
like she's this
that's a good
innocent.
one.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
same
yeah.
as us, the
So
reader.
for example, the first guy that we meet is a co-executor, Metzger,
Right.
the lawyer, so she's gone to San Narciso. She goes to a motel, and at this motel, we meet a fake British band.
Mm-hmm.
They're all speaking with fake British accents because that's what their producer told them to do.
mm-hmm.
So they're
Mm-hmm.
watching British films and people with British accents. But then there's a scene where Oedipa and Metzger, I think, are watching a scene, and the guy's talking with a British accent, and they know that he's not British. So there's like reality is something that we're discovering for Oedipa, and the world is not something that's obvious.
mm-hmm.
So everything is just a mystery, pretty much. So okay, so in the second act, she meets Metzger, who just wants to get in her pants. He has been. He says, "Do you want me to tell you what about what
Inverarity.
invari- inferiority
Yeah.
said about you?" I just want to call him Moriarty, but inferiority, what he said about you. And initially she says no and turns on the TV. And TV is kind of important in this stuff. It's a way for people to black out from their world.
yeah.
It starts in the first chapter with her watching TV and kind of blotting out,
Mm-hmm.
and we got to meet her husband, who's a DJ,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and uh, and he doesn't like his job as a DJ, and he's kind of he's a very sensitive guy, and he doesn't want to have anything to do with this. Uh,
Well, he didn't like his job as a used car salesman.
right, he did, but he also as a DJ, he
I thought
doesn't like the job. He does the job,
he likes the
and
perks of the job.
he likes the perks of the job.
yeah.
He likes the young women of the job, but like
Yes.
he says, "Oh yeah, there's a he's listening to a song by Sick Dick and the Volkswagens,
Mm-hmm.
and he says he he says I like the song, but I don't believe in them, or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
So there's always a quality. By the way, Willie, who I work with all the videos, the
Yeah.
name of his band in the '70s was Sick Dick and the Volkswagens, based on this book.
No way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I actually did some reading about his band then.
yeah.
And so I wrote a note. It says, let's see, Sick Dick and the Volkswagens IRL. Taking their band name from Thomas Pynchon's The Crying of Lot 49, Sick Dick and the Volkswagens landed their first gigs through connections with John Zorn, Glenn Branca, and Bill Laswell. So
Yeah.
they were kicking it with some.
Yeah, they were kicking it. There's a guy in Ithaca, that record
Oh
store,
wow, yeah,
Mother's Rec. You
I
know that
love
guy?
Ithaca. I love Ithaca. I don't know if I know
Yeah,
him
I love
particularly, but I
Ithaca, and I like that Mother's Records. What's it called? Something like that.
something. Yeah.
Anyway, he has the tapes for Sick Dick, and
No,
somehow
what a small world. That's crazy.
he's got the tapes for it, and Wooly tried to buy it from him,
Yeah.
and then he went up there, or I went up. No, okay. So I was going to Ithaca because we go up to Ithaca. We used to go up to Ithaca a lot,
Yeah.
and I went in, and there was supposed to be a deal made, and the guy never showed up. It was very Thomas. It was very Pynchon.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
So,
art imitates reality, so they say.
oh my God. So then the talk about art imitating reality.
Mm-hmm.
That is the exact in chapter 2, in the second chapter, there's discussion about this Jacobean play called the Courier's Tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And that play, do you remember what it's about?
Yeah, it's about what, Thurn and Taxis, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the first thing that starts talking about. It's so convoluted.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very
Mm-hmm.
convoluted, but there's things that happen in this play where there are three armed guys with masks, and they are the secret postal service,
Right. Right.
and it's the first time you hear the name. Of the company, of the secret
Oh
organization.
yeah. Tax or the one thing I don't know if I have that written down, but I know, yeah,
No,
the
yeah, we'll get to that. But anyway, uh, it's the Tristero.
Tristero. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Tristero.
Tristero is the name of the secret organization, and and but this so within the play, which then she goes to see it with Metzger, because the band that is the fake British band are talking about how they just saw it, and how one of the girls who's with the band says, "Oh, that mimics how what you're saying in real life is mimicking what happened in this play from the 17th century. But you can
Yeah.
go see it."
Yeah. 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 What a that.
It's a very you know the synopsis is sounds crazy,
Mm,
really.
mm-hmm.
So far, even already it sounds crazy, but then so after the synopsis, nothing is normal, but things, hopefully, by the end of our conversation, will sort of make sense of why you should read this book, and how much fun it can be to kind of unbox it.
Yeah, that was one of the points where I was like, when I reread it, especially the play, and then did some research, where I realized, oh, there's a lot more going on to this. Because I'm like, why? I'm reading it for the first time. Like, who are all these names? What is this? I didn't realize it was a real thing, that it was a
Yeah,
real organization and a real family
yeah.
in Germany. I have a little blurb about them that
Now
I wrote
tell me
down. If you
about it.
don't, so Thurn and Taxis,
Yes,
the princely house of Thurn and Taxis is a German noble family that originated in Lombardy, Italy. It was a key player in the postal services in Europe. Its operations began around 1290 in the Bergamo region, and from the 16th to the 19th century, it maintained significant Europe-wide networks with headquarters in Brussels and Frankfurt. So yeah,
right.
it was a real organization that actually did postal service outside of the government postal service.
Right. So, and why does she care about this? Because what I forgot to mention is this letter that she gets about the estate that she's now executrix
Mm-hmm.
with Metzger, the lawyer. She gets a letter that has its own postage on it. It's not from the U.S. mail.
Yeah.
It's from this. it's got there's a symbol that's throughout the book that she sees. As soon as she sees this symbol and questions it, she starts seeing it everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's one of the things about mysteries that that Pynchon is trying to get at. That once you notice something that has always that's been in front of you
Mm-hmm.
your entire life, now that you've noticed it here, you start noticing it everywhere. So that's how she got in this play. uh they they talk about Tristero. How's it pronounced?
I have no idea.
Trister, Tristero.
Tristero is what I've been saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
I.
Tristero. And so this is all that she has to go on about finding out, like, why would there be some letter that it has this it has and this is the symbol that is ongoing, is this muted horn. So you know how, like, you have your
Okay. Hello. Hello. Hello.
yeah, now I hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, I mean,
My my.
I think it's kind of perfect.
Yeah. My program
Yes,
crashed. Yeah. They must be listening in.
100%. Which we'll get to the paranoia. So
Okay.
the trumpet that is a symbol throughout the book
Uh-huh.
is muted, and we
Yes.
just got
Yeah.
muted as I was talking about it. It's perfect.
I wish I
Try
I
doing that again.
I need that like conspiracy theory sound. I
Got
don't
to
have
have some
I don't have
pie.
it. The doodle-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, all
So
right. So I'm sorry. What were you saying before we were so rudely interrupted by the powers that be?
well, I think that is just fantastic that that happened, because it just shows you that is part of her process. There
Yes.
are things that happen, and she doesn't know if they're intentionally happening like that.
Mm-hmm.
Were we just muted by just randomness, coincidence? Coincidence, our conversations about coincidence and synchronicity
Mm-hmm.
are high up on the list within this book. and
Yeah.
uh and by the time uh we're done with this conversation, this to me is one of the greatest little books on explaining occult knowledge.
Yeah.
It just has so many references to Gnosticism and uh, uh, Hermetic ideas of as above, so below. It's so connected, I feel, to that he was obviously trying to get across within this detective who doesn't know what she's investigating,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know, she's investigating initially why this letter came from some source that doesn't make any sense. Then she's investigating. She hears that these people send her off to this play where they talk about Tristero. So she follows that. So she's following a path. She's a pretty good detective. Like the way she gets into. There's that bar there's the gay bar
Yeah.
in the book.
Yeah.
The, oh, you went dead again. You went silent again. Can you speak? Can you hear me?
Uh. Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're good.
I just heard you now. Okay.
Yeah.
What was there another little glitch?
Yeah. I think I got it fixed at this point though.
Okay, good. So anyway, there's a point where some reason has brought all the tourists into this gay bar, and she just goes with the flow and goes into the bar with them. So she's very much a flowing energy. There's a lot of this kind of like she just ends up places, and they tend to be the right place where something is happening
Yeah.
that leads her further onto an investigation that she doesn't understand why she's
Right.
doing it. It,
I
it has that, yeah,
yeah, I think that that's really the beauty of the book. Because as we're, traveling on this journey with her, we're seeing the whole world unfold. And I think that you're absolutely right in that we are he, includes the occult knowledge, but he also shows like the history of how occult knowledge forms cults or forms groups or hidden groups, and how those
yeah,
groups change over time. I think that he definitely had like experience in, military and government, or I don't know if government, but things of that nature. So I think that he also like he includes, like the real groups such as Stern and Taxis, but I think he also um, is adding features from more modern groups. Maybe not calling them out directly, but his knowledge of like just the overarching occult to cult to, whatever government connection or military connection or whatever. Like he's showing you the whole picture in just like this. He's leading you, like you're saying, on this journey to seeing the
yeah.
whole picture. It's really cool.
Yeah, well, like he did work within California in aerospace,
Right.
in and he also so he worked he has knowledge of corporations. That's probably where he came up with
Yeah.
Yo-Yo Dine.
Yeah, he was working for Boeing, I think. He wrote for Boeing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. He worked for Boeing. So he has, and was he in the Navy, I think, right?
I think so,
For
yeah.
for
Yeah,
a
I know he
couple of
did.
years.
Yeah, he did some military. I can't remember specifically, but I know he did.
I think he did 2 years.
Yeah.
And then he went to Cornell,
Mhm.
and then after
Mhm.
2 years he went to the military, and then I think he went back to Cornell to finish.
Ithaca represent.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's so crazy but maybe that's why the guy from Ithaca got sick dick in the Volkswagens,
That would make
uh,
sense.
because he knew that Pynchon went to Cornell. It's so crazy that's where the tapes
Yeah.
ended up.
I was just gonna say another book that we might consider reading in the future. Have you read Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
I love that guy. Oh my
So
god,
the
he's the
fantastic
best.
book. Yeah, he's hilarious.
Oh
But
my
I know
god, he's so
part of
great. And
yeah,
and he taught at Cornell, or I have
yeah,
seen a lecture of him at
yeah.
Cornell.
He taught at Cornell. He talks about it in the book a little bit.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What he's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. But
And another kind of the same ilk, where Feynman also came out of that beat generation. But he's a bongo player. He
yeah,
loved going to
yeah,
bars and hanging
yeah.
out.
Uh-huh.
He had a great sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
He did pranks, and that is maybe also what's even going on here. A love for pranks,
Mm-hmm.
like my shirt, my Barbie Antifa shirt.
Hey, yes.
uh, so okay, so I think we're on chapter 4 now. I
Okay.
think
Yeah, we're
where
skipping all
now,
over.
uh, you know. I think we're there where now there is that where I think that's where the bar is scope, where they're listening to Stockhausen there, and the Yo-Yo Dine Corporation goes to hang out. So it's kind of like it 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 has the quality of technology. All these guys are techno guys
Yeah.
who are in this bar, and then there's a mail call where they're receiving mail from Waste, WASTE, which stands for something. And in fact, that's how she's trying to get information out of people about what this is, because they're giving out personal letters from from uh from Tristero,
Mm-hmm.
and it has so she's trying to follow that path still of trying to find out. I mean, what is she really trying to find out here? She's trying to find
That.
out what these companies are, if they're real, what is going on, who, you know, there's like we haven't gotten to the devious stuff of what
Yeah.
he owns.
That's been kind of my question the whole time. Is like, why? Like, what is the point of this? And we even get to the end, and we talked earlier about how you don't get any sort of satisfaction of an ending from knowing what the purpose was in the beginning. I remember finishing it the first time and being like, she could have skipped this entire book and just gone to the crying at the end. She could have stayed in bed or went,
Right,
and
right,
gone
right,
to the
right.
crying, and the whole thing. Like,
But
I
she
don't
didn't
know, but
even know to go to the auction, and that you know. So there's a couple of things going on here. There's Metzger, the lawyer, has a situation where he's trying to get her in bed, and so he he turns on the television randomly, where there's a movie that he made as a child actor,
yep, baby Igor.
Baby Igor, where
Uh-huh.
where where he's talking about the movie as if it really happened. Did you notice how he turns away at a scene,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
he cannot tell the difference, and we're not maybe supposed to know if he write the movie. How does he know all these details? Because he was like, he makes it seem like aspects of what happened in the film actually happen.
Right.
And there's uh and so there's a bet as to whether or not they have a bet if she'll go to bed with him, if it's a happy ending or not. And
Mhm.
everything points to it being a happy ending,
Yep.
except for the ending.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. And
Is
side
that
note, in the case of the people who cry in the movie, Metzger himself doesn't cry, but baby Igor does cry in the context of the movie. So it's interesting, thinking that, because I hadn't considered that, but yeah, he does describe it as being real, as like, telling you the details, and like, oh, I remember specifically him talking about being in the submarine and them having to
yes,
like
the
go under the
submarine.
submarine net. And he's like, well, the regular ships go through the gap in the submarine, as if it's like a real thing. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
the event itself actually happened. I don't know, but it was like
exactly.
that
It,
wasn't a
it,
real.
it's it's another aspect of what Pynchon is doing to us.
Yeah.
He's putting us in the same situation that she's in, that we can't tell what is really going on and why.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but there are things like his connection. So there's so he was an actor, a child actor,
Right.
who became a lawyer, and there's a documentary about him, which is being made by a lawyer who became an actor.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how twisted. It's all about twisting. Pynchon is pinching us, and that's not his real name.
Mm-hmm.
Pynchon's
No, I
name,
didn't. I didn't know that either.
yeah. So he's been pinching us all along. He's, is he trying to wake us up or confuse us or just, and it's all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think you know, there's the people she follows from the bar Scope, where they distribute the mail from Waste, which is connected to Yo-Yo Dine, the corporation.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like Yo-Yo Dine, the people from the corporation are getting these private letters. And in this bar, she talks to the right-wing guy, the fascist guy. Oh my
The
God, what's his
who's in the
his name? Not
CIA,
no,
or is that's
no.
later on?
I don't even know of a CIA. Is what's his name? I wrote down his name somewhere. Hold on a
There's
second.
the guy they meet who when she was dating the what's his face, they went to Mexico or something and met this guy.
Oh,
Um
when they went to we may as well go over the tapestry,
okay.
which is that piece of art that I sent you from
Yeah, let me pull that up.
what, what's that person's name?
I knew I should have written out a character list. I just wrote out the characters who cry.
I
I was
wrote
like,
out a
man, I should have written out the whole character list.
I did write it out somewhere, but
Okay.
I have two note I have two notebooks.
Yeah, I'm still working on my notes, but I have notes this time. So I'm working. It's all. I feel like it's coming together. It's all coming together.
Yeah, I mean it. Well, write us and let us know if this is coming together. Go to your comments and let us know what we did wrong here, or
Please.
help
All
straighten
right.
it out for us. Why do we have to be in charge of everything?
Okay.
Uh,
Remedios Varo. Bordando al manto terrestre.
I don't even know where it is. Anyway, I forgot his name. I've lost it for the time being. But
Okay.
he's a right wing guy who's talking about 1863, where the Russians have come to San Francisco to help make sure that slavery continues in the United States.
Hmm.
It's a
Okay.
very, it's a weird, it's a weird, and somehow this guy, and he's the one who catches Oedipa because she says, something about what do you know about waste, and he says waste. It's called WASTE. And then he becomes suspicious of her. Like at first, he thinks that she is in on the secret society,
Yeah.
and then he becomes suspicious of her. But she follows uh, uh, someone who has a letter that needs to be transported, and she follows it. It's a homeless guy,
Mm-hmm.
so they hire homeless guy and teenage delinquents to deliver this mail, this secret mail that when you hear what a letter she's read one of the letters, and it's you are required, if you're part of this secret organization, are required to send mail,
Yes.
but it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, hope is everything is okay. I'm doing, it's just this stupid. And then she follows this guy uh, to to a garbage bin that has WASTE on it, and then she waits there to see who picks it up, and where it's going. So she's doing terrific in one way, in that she's able to, without any real knowledge of what she's doing, able to follow this course to find out. And
Right.
so and after after we finish going over what happens in the book, then we'll talk about what it is about what happens in the book that makes it worth following her, and what the anti is this an anti-noir book? I would kind of call it, yeah, I would call it kind of anti-noir,
Mm-hmm.
because there is no obvious crime. There are plenty of crimes going on. For example, in Verity has this lake, and do you remember what's in the bottom of this lake?
Bones.
Bones
Yeah. Yeah.
from GIs
Yeah.
from World War II that
Mm-hmm.
he's bought in
Mm-hmm.
order to make the people who go uh, swimming and going underwater to look at see what's under there. He's brought all these GI bones from Italy
Right.
and has put them on display throughout. So when you go snorkeling, you'll be able to see human bones
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
people. And also there's the idea that these bones are used in filters for cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah. And
What
also,
is that? Is that a real thing?
hope not. I wouldn't be surprised though. I've had like I've had like clay filter cigarettes, so I imagine they're probably similar to that. But it was
Well,
really interesting
yeah,
seeing the because they also use the bones as ink, right? It's like a whole story with the bones
yeah,
that starts with the play, where there's
right.
and like they kind of give you some hints as to like they're talking about the ink, and he's like, oh, this ink, and he has like a little line about the ink, I think. And so it's this whole thing where was it Thurn and Taxis? I guess they were doing the being the dark the black feathered Indians
Yeah,
and like
it's just so out of control. Okay, wait a second. Hold on a second. Now I don't know where I am chapter wise. Hold on.
but I just wanted to
Okay.
add
Yeah.
just a quick detail about the Indians with the black feathers. Like that's another thing that's real. Um,
Tell me about it.
have you ever heard about the Mountain Meadows Massacre?
No.
So, one of the books that I've brought up on this podcast and that I think we should read and look into is Under the Banner of Heaven by Jonathan Krakauer, and
Yeah.
it's about Mormonism and how Mormonism starts and
Oh
like
yeah.
some cults stuff, like there's murders and things of that nature, of course. But one of the things he talks about is this event called the Mountain Meadows Massacre, where when the Mormons had made it to Utah, they were some of the first people who headed out west. And so they would have, people in wagon trains and things passing through their land. And this one time, they had this wagon train that came through, and the wagon train asked to stop, and they refused. And the wagon train had to keep going and went past. And then the train was attacked under cover of night by Indians. And so witnesses, I think maybe a couple people survived. I don't think very many people survived, or if anybody survived, honestly. But they were saying that, yeah, it was the Mormons were dressing up and had been dressing up as Native Americans to rob wagon trains that passed through their territory. So the whole thing he was talking about with and that's just
Yeah.
one incident, a major one that I think we probably don't think about, but the Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea
Right.
Party was probably the biggest one where they did that, or at least in American history, but
Right.
where they just dressed up as Native Americans and cause to mischief, but it's a thing.
Is this somehow connected also to the three guys who are dressed in black, who in both the
Yeah,
Jacobean play, and the there's another incident where three guys are dressed up in black.
I think the intimation is, yeah, it's all the same. It's all Tristero.
Yeah, right. Uh, okay. So, and then in the final chapter,
Mm-hmm.
there's the auction of invariarities stamp collection,
Uh-huh.
and stamps are, here we are again. It's a stamp collection, and so we're connected to a secret uh, underground delivery system, uh, that is being delivered by homeless people, teenage delinquents, and just a very strange delivery system.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have these stamps, and that's what the lot of crying of lot 49 is, and that's how it ends, with just, it's about to go on. She's waiting to see if someone from Tristero is there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the next leg of her mission. uh and so, before we continue the conversation, like, just the confusion of, so first of all, I don't think I said it, or that invariety is a real estate guy.
Yeah.
So, and so we live, and we are now in this world that we live in, where real estate guys are just doing horrendous things, and
Yeah.
seem to be the mass poachers of our society. They're the ones who seem to be able to kind of create this confusion, or what is going on. It seems to be like intentional.
Yeah.
So a lot of
Yeah.
the ways that we talk about the world that we live in now, about how the confusion of the internet is intentional, or what our politicians do is intentional to confuse things. I think in 1965, that this is where what Pynchon was seeing going on, and he was like, "I'm going to create the I'm going to recreate the situation of what I'm seeing
Yeah.
as satire, in order to help people like us understand that how we're being manipulated, not
Right.
why we're being manipulated, not if we're being, but at least to ask the question, are you being manipulated, or is this something real that happened?"
Yeah. What I really like is how he is able to show you the whole picture. So like we're talking about the stamps and the importance of the stamps. He not only shows you that there's a secret message to the stamps, and like what, how that came to be and what they're used for, but he also shows you, like, when he goes to the bar, to the gay bar, and she talks to the guy at the gay bar, and he tells his whole story, or the whole story, about the founder of Enamorado Anonymous or whatever, how he had
Right,
a stamp in his pocket when he got gasoline, and he poured gasoline on himself, and it melted
right,
off the
right,
stamp and had the horn, and that's what he ended up using for his own group, his own spin-off group that had literally nothing to do with Tristero except for that one symbol that he saw. And it's like,
right.
so like it could be, yes, there is this whole, conspiracy, or it could be nothing. It could be,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
random coincidence. that it happened. That
Right.
it happened. So yeah, I thought that was super interesting. He shows you everything. He shows you the whole picture of what of what possibilities there are in reference to that. I think that's really cool.
So one of the heavier things that I wanted to talk about that I also have trouble understanding about Pynchon in general is the concept of entropy and
Yeah.
how there are two kinds of entropy. So do you have an understanding? I'd like to hear your understanding of what he's going after between the scientific entropy and then there's the entropy of communication.
So entropy is like chaos, right? Or
It's the
disorder or the lack of order.
yeah, well, there's the two different kinds that he distinguishes. There's the scientific entropy, which is the breaking down of something. What I took a note on this. Uh,
Yeah, let me see
the
if I can.
the what I wrote is the loss entropy is the loss of usable energy. The scientific,
Okay.
but the informational entropy is the misunderstanding that we have between people. So, for example, what this this how the symbol changes its meaning, and so like it's it's that game where I whisper something in your ear and then you whisper it to the next person and then
Yeah.
20 what's that called?
Telephone.
I guess it's called just telephone, right?
Yeah. That's how I know it as.
Yeah,
Telephone.
telephone. And so that's what is happening here, that there's a
Yes.
breakdown of information over time. Like we don't get the truth ever. Truth is not something that is possible to attain because of informational stuff. You think about uh, in the last 5 years, all the misinformation that we've had, all the ideas of what you thought our country is and how it does, and the concepts of what we were raised to believe, and the misleading information that
Yeah.
we've had, one thing after another, and just like so often, quite often, come to find out that the opposite of whatever was told to us was the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what he's getting after here too. And so then what? So then you find this stuff out. There are too many signals, there's too many clues. She's overwhelmed, there's too many clues, there's meaningful things that she's finding out, and not meaningful things.
Mm-hmm.
And and so then and so then, if that's true, so then how do we keep our sanity?
Yeah.
How do we I mean that the question really becomes how do we keep our sanity in a world where we can't trust anything that we're told, or we're not sure, or we're always left with ambiguity. And I think that's the point of reading this kind of book, to help us understand that no, you get to live with the ambiguity. You have to learn how to live with it, and that you are not ever going to get the answers. You're not ever going to find out uh, if the guy was murdered, if he was a good guy, a bad guy, if everything is real, is everything fake. It's the concept of what we're being told now, by our president with this the whole fake news idea. And the fake news is the fake news from my perspective, the one that he's telling. It's true that there's fake news, but he's the one emitting that fake news.
Yeah.
So and people have to make these decisions about that. And I think part of the book is, well, you may never really find out.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. I think just to get, I guess, kind of, quantum physics with it,
yeah.
is that that's kind of the reality of, I guess, anything, of the reality of energy. What's we're talking about, concepts such as physics, but we're also talking about concepts such as like turning lead into gold, where it's like we see that over time things are have the ability to change and shift, and maybe not show originally what they were, but we can kind of maybe get a picture generally, and not and once we get the picture, we can kind of decide, I guess, maybe what is important to us or what we feel we should pursue. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed very much like it was showing like the dispersion of knowledge. You have like the central with our knowledge or whatever, and then it just goes out into the universe, and then whatever happens will happen. But I think, yeah, she was doing a good job going out and collecting, you know, whatever little clues and stuff, and putting it together into a bigger picture. And that's really, maybe that's part of what we need to be out there doing. But also, once we have an idea of what the picture is, deciding, you know, if it's worth looking at. I don't know, but
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
mean, I think you're really onto something here, and I think this is, it's a very complicated uh, issue. Even the idea of turning lead into gold by the alchemists originally was was that wasn't the goal. The goal
yeah,
was to find out things about ourselves through alchemical reactions.
mm-hmm.
So, and then if everything is alive and we are experimenting to find out in what way uh, this thing that has turned black, Negrado, is now within us as well. That's kind of the experimentation was psychological, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why Jung and his disciples like James Hillman really looked into alchemical. I mean, Jung spent the last 20 years of his life looking to alchemical reactions, reading those books, because he understood that they were talking really about psychological aspects where he could change the names of situations of what these alchemists were doing by heating something, the type of, so instead of I am depressed, why did this chemical reaction in this bottle turn black?
Right.
You could describe yourself as alchemical reactions instead of uh, the the idea, because when you create your life using these alchemical terms, you are not defining yourself. You're just putting yourself in a vessel of some sort, and I'll heat it up. I have
Mm-hmm.
to cool down my vessel right now because I'm hot. They turned it into, and what Jung was able to do was turn it into psychological terms to help people understand themselves within the material world of what they were experimenting on.
Mm-hmm.
did I say anything just then?
Yeah.
Was that somewhat? Did that have some clarity?
No, yeah. I think because yeah, it's beautiful because of how it's like it's a universal means of I think approaching the world. The a way that I have had it explained to me is explaining alchemy as like music, and like say if you're like playing music on an instrument, um any slight change in like where your finger is, say I'm playing guitar, if I change where my
Yeah,
finger is, the note changes. Or if I'm playing
right.
a chord and I change slightly one of the notes within the chord, then the chord changes and the feeling of the chord changes. And so it's like putting just realizing the pressures that we put on something and the effects that it has. And I think that yeah, part of this book is you're seeing this information, this symbol, this whatever you have, and the different effects and pressures and things that happen to it, and the stories that come out of it, and how she explores those. And so yeah, I think the alchemical explanation of it is a universal one, and it works really well to explain a lot of stuff that goes on in this world. you
Right.
know
And
it's
so, and I
nothing.
think that what we're doing is hitting upon something, one of the first really important aspects of tying in what Pynchon is telling us and why we're even bothering to review this book.
Mm-hmm.
That the frequencies that Oedipa discovers by tuning in, by she received a frequency of seeing this letter with
Mm-hmm.
she
Mm-hmm.
noticed the fake stamp. She noticed there's one point where there's an envelope instead of that's addressed to her that says instead of postmaster it says
Pot
pot master.
Pots master. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is so okay. So there's two things going on there, and that what he's doing is, on one hand he's saying pay attention to all this stuff because it is important and this is how you understand frequencies. On
Mm-hmm.
the other hand, it's also a possibility of how you could become paranoid and mad.
Yes. Yeah.
There is that possibility of negativity that can happen from this process as well.
Well, I forgot to mention that the whole reason I even said that is because of Mucho's whole spiel when he's explaining to Oedipa that he's tripping on acid, and so while he's tripping on acid, he can like extract frequencies and like
Yeah,
tell you and like do all these different things with sounds, and like understand how these different forces are affecting these sounds. And it's like he's explaining, in that through that way, just what we're talking about now. It's like
yeah.
the
I mean,
manipulation.
and he. So let's just go back to his character for a moment from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So we meet him. He he's a DJ. He doesn't really like his job as a DJ. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but but he likes the song from Sick Dick and the Volkswagens,
Yeah.
but he doesn't trust them. But then he becomes, and we haven't even talked about the psychiatrist, yes,
Oh
Dr.
no.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
Yep.
Jesus. We'll get to him now
Oh
because
wow.
he's the
Yeah.
one that put her husband on the path to taking acid and being part of this experiment where he's taking acid and he cannot seem to he's changing personalities every 30 seconds or so. That's what his boss says.
Mm-hmm.
uh but his personality was already fractured from the beginning. Did you write down when when he cries about the cream puffs?
I he does he doesn't I don't know if he cries. He just leaves. I saw
Oh,
that.
I
He
think
doesn't.
oh,
He doesn't
he's
cry. He just
yeah,
he just
yeah,
leaves in a
right.
huff.
He
In a
might just
huff.
leave. He's upset. He thinks that this guy is talking about him,
Mm-hmm.
calling him a cream puff, but he was a Hungarian baker talking about making cream puffs.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it seems that I don't know if I don't know if this acid experiment that he's doing is I can't remember if it's so bad. Their relationship is so fragmented too that
Yeah.
they're together but they're not together. I mean, he certainly doesn't seem to care that she's going off on this to find out about she has no interest
He calls her the
seemingly
wrong
about.
name. You remember that part?
Yeah.
I don't know if he like because he tries to explain it away. He's like, well, when they hear it on the radio, they'll understand. But I'm like, did he legitimately just forget her name?
Yeah. And
But yeah,
then so uh let me see what I wrote here.
okay. I was just gonna throw in there real quick
Yeah,
that
please.
for him in particular, Doctor Hilarious and his
Yeah,
character, like those are real. Those are real things. Like if you know about Operation Paperclip,
right.
Operation Paperclip. For those who may not know, post World War II, there were a lot of bright minds, the best and brightest minds from our our enemies, the Axis, including Germany and Japan. Scientists, rocket scientists, doctors, and so forth, were brought over to the United States to bring their knowledge to us.
Werner von Braun.
Yeah, huge, huge, huge one. And so
Yeah,
also combined with that, there was, MK Ultra, where they were doing just that. They were
right.
giving people LSD in trying to study whether they can control people's minds with it and stuff. So they were
Well,
doing
and they're saying that happened with Charles Manson as well.
yeah, yeah, Charles Manson. Also the like the whole Grateful Dead. The guy who was running Grateful I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But yeah, a Grateful Dead guy. Their whole thing was taking acid and spreading it around the country because they were involved. He was involved from the beginning in the whole CIA. The whole CIA hippie movement is like some might say it was manufactured by the U.S. government. I don't want to say that, but there's
Yeah.
depends on who you talk to. But anyways, that was another thing when I'm reading this book and I'm seeing this and I'm like, this stuff is real that he's talking about. Maybe we
Yeah.
didn't know it then, but we do know now. We do know now.
Yeah. I mean, well, one of the main questions about this book is this is this real or an hallucination entirely?
Uh huh.
It has that quality to it, and it's purposeful because he wants you and me
Mm-hmm.
to be focused on this book and the books that we read in the future in this particular way, that we will take what our takeaways are from the books are not as solid as other people's critiques of the book, and
Mm-hmm.
that he kind of wants us to leave the book, leave this world of the novel, live in our lives kind of like this,
Mm-hmm.
where we're not sure about things. But we're always investigating.
Mm-hmm.
We're always trying to figure something out, but with the knowledge that we might not ever have an answer. And in that way, w- when we have arguments, at the end of it, we know that, you know, I don't know. I don't know if I'm right. Maybe. I feel like I made some concrete points about this book or understanding how my life should end up. But how many times have I had to change my mind about what my life is?
Yeah,
And
that's
that
very
and
fair.
that is very much occult stuff. That goes into the hermetic, as above, so below. that what you think is going on in this world is not what is happening
Mm-hmm.
inside of you, for or how to develop to reach a higher level of understanding about where we're at in this universe. I mean, that's the hermetic idea of the world, as opposed to the Gnostic viewpoint, which he has both. He's got the Hermetic view, he's got Gnostic views,
Right.
because the Gnostic views is more negative, that we are being told false things in
Mm-hmm.
this world and to pay attention to them. And the more we pay attention to the false things that we are being told, the more revelation we will have. We'll get more to Gnosticism once we get to a Philip K. Dick book.
Sure.
But he's this book is a planned occult book. It has all the qualities of what chaos magic is supposed to do. It's got grimoires in it of things that to it has ritual in it. I mean, it's a very interesting book
Yeah. I wanted to just bring
for a
it.
short little book.
It's packed to the gills.
It really is.
Speaking of, I wanted to just bring it real quick back to um you brought up this painting, and I don't know if we've talked about
Yeah.
it yet. I've had it on my
No.
screen and I've been looking at it this whole time, but I'm really
Oh, that one.
curious. I'm really curious what you have to say. What you have to say about this painting?
Okay. So I don't know if you remember early on in the book,
Mhm.
she is talking about this dream or fantasy that she's had, where she's asking in verity to climb up, like it's Rapunzel,
Yeah.
to climb up her hair and to come up to the tower.
Mhm.
And halfway up, it's discovered that it's a wig.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm really happy you brought this up,
Mhm.
because it's such a you know fairy tales really come up, and she really leaves the museum after seeing this painting. Do you have the name of
Yes.
Vega? What's
The name of the artist
Yeah.
is Remedios Varo, Spain. And the name of the painting is Bordando el Manto Terrestre. Sorry for butchering that, folks at home.
Yeah, no, and so uh it makes her cry because it's a tapestry that is made, that then it's a story, it's also a fairy tale.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a story about a fairy tale about a woman who makes this embroidery that is reality.
Mm.
And so you have this, she has this fairy tale that from a dream, and then there's a piece of art that becomes real in the story. And it's so he's playing around with these ideas, and it upsets her,
Mm-hmm.
because she there's tarot is not discussed in this book, but when you think of the card of a tower, it's enclosed, it has security, but it's also isolated. And I think this tower image that she has, where he's falling, and then to have another tower image of this embroidery that's real, is messing with her. It's just
Mm-hmm.
really another part of what I mean. I think we can all think of moments in our lives where we've been completely emotional about something that has happened or something that we've seen, and we can't really put our finger on it. But we know that it was important, and maybe maybe we'll get to it and figure it
Yeah.
out, and maybe not. I
Yeah.
remember, I remember seeing there was this a rescued little tiny dog,
Mm-hmm.
the littlest of tiniest of dogs that was rescued, and I just looked at this little creature, and I could not stop bawling. I was just weeping. I
Yeah.
just I have no explanation for it, but I'm sure it has
Yeah.
something to do. I'm sure it has something to do with the tower.
Yeah. I mean, that's who know. There has to be, and that's what was interesting to me too, because like I've talked to you about what I was thinking about this book in terms of like the meaning behind the tears. You know, there are certain characters that cry. Oedipa herself cries, I think, 3 different times. The first being at the museum where she's looking at this painting. And so, to me, what I'm thinking now is like, what is the mechanism that is making her cry? She cries looking at this painting. She cries after sleeping with the lawyer in the
Metzger.
motel, Metzger, after he tells her that that
Oh,
uh
right.
he didn't think she was going to be so easy, or that her ex-boyfriend said that she wasn't going to be so easy. And
Right.
then the third time is when she's holding the old sailor whose letter he's
Oh,
giving her
right.
her at the end of the book. They're under the underpass, or she's going to take it to
Can
the
you talk
waist.
about that? Can you talk about those that sailor in the old letters? That's an
Yeah.
interesting.
So she is walking. I think this. Yeah, it's near the end of the book. She's walking. She sees the sailor who's an old man, and she thinks he's a sailor because he has an anchor tattoo.
Right.
And he's like sitting on the road, I think, crying because he can't get this letter, or he's trying to like tell passerbys that he's trying to get this letter to his wife, but he can't make it. He's not strong enough to get. And I think maybe he's like sitting outside of an old folks home or something like that, because after
Yeah.
the fact, like a nurse, they come and get him. But
Right.
he's out there, and she goes, and he's telling her about his wife and starts crying, and so she holds him, and they start crying together. And so she takes the
Right.
letter, and then I think after the fact is when she puts it in the can and waits for the home whoever comes and picks it up to follow, and that's when she follows the guy for like 24 hours as he's
Right.
going around, and he just brings her back to, I think, where she
Full
started.
circle.
Yeah, she brings her full
Full
circle.
circle. That's right.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
So it's a whole thing. But yeah, so I'm thinking now, I'm like, I that's another I this book intrigues me so much. 'Cause
Yeah.
yeah, I'm always like, man, I feel like I have to go back. I have to dive back in
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
just see if, like, what I'm thinking
It's
is
it's
true.
those it's those hidden layers that are
Mm-hmm.
underneath this world, and that he's trying to get us to look at, even if we never understand them. And it's maybe part of our, it's maybe, it's maybe that's the difference. The people who can accept the not knowing, and then
Mm-hmm.
there are the people who insist on knowing things and having the answers. They're the ones that are screwing up the world,
Yeah.
because they think they know the answers. They're not paying close enough attentions to they're not paying close enough attention to the hidden messages that they're getting from
Mm-hmm.
the hermetic understanding of this world. And a lot of people misunderstand. It's as above, so below. you know this world is the earth. This is the real world. But you're not taking an elevator up to
Yeah.
higher.
Yeah.
You are learning from small little details that you're paying attention to in communication, in understanding things for yourself, in which then you rise to a higher level of understanding about this world. uh and it's not from it's not this, sudden, just I see God or understand God, or it's this process of learning small little things about oneself, the little details that you've always missed that now you're seeing. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it'll be interesting to see if there's anything within the next week
Mm-hmm.
of our going on our business, if any of this resonate, any of this book continues to resonate in a way that I think that he was trying to get to understand qualities about himself. I
Yeah.
think you know, and I know that when I'm writing that, that's kind of what I feel like I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to a little wiser, a little more detailed, seeing things that I know that I've pointed things out to other people that are in the world that's been right in front of them,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll say to me, "I never noticed that." And I think that's it. That's the gold. That's the lead turning to gold.
Yeah.
It was lead. It was this dead weight, and now it's something cherished.
Yeah.
It's neat. Yeah. That's a neat quality. Let me see if
I
I
th-
have anything else in here of
okay.
this crazy book.
Yeah, and I think that what I really like about our conversation and what I think our future conversations will entail is that everything that we're talking about, we're bringing along with us, and
Yeah,
we're going to use it to further interpret what we read into the future.
I
And
hope
so,
so.
like, yeah, so I feel like I'm very much, learning and burnishing skills um,
Yeah.
that will help me in just my day to day life. Which I think
And you know,
is
yeah, and it's just amazing to think that the secret is in silence of a muted horn.
mm,
That is, you know, there's something about this muted horn that I cherish.
mm-hmm.
And I don't even have the answer for it, but I think it actually has something
It's
to do with that it can be,
it's
this horn can be
yeah,
different for different people.
sure. It's
And I think that
it's a whatchamacallit. It's like it's an opposite. It's an opposing like concept. Um what's the word for that?
it's an
Where
opposing concept.
where it's like something that shouldn't like it's something that uh uh like a muted horn, like you
Yeah.
wouldn't like a muted horn cancels itself out. Like you wouldn't have a muted horn, you know what I mean? Or
But it's
like
not
a
that you
square
have nothing. You don't have nothing.
it's like a squared circle. I don't know. So I'm trying to there's a term for it. I can't remember what it is.
It's like last week when with nihilism
Yeah.
and narcissism.
Okay, everybody who's listened to last week's episode, the word is nihilism. Okay, now go back and watch it. We
Word of the
figured it out.
day. Word of the day last week was nihilism, and
Yeah. This is gonna be our secret for getting people to go and listen to past episodes. We're like, we have the one word that we didn't get, but we'll give it to you next episode, so you get the concept.
you know, another thing is that I think that he's trying, you know, with this, even this muted horn, that he's trying to tell us all we are people who are, there's the unheard, the you know, disrespected, the invisible people of this world who don't have a say, who don't like what we're seeing politically or economically or any of this stuff, and you know, we just have to, we have to remain muted horns, but it
Yeah,
doesn't mean that we just have to figure out ways of unmuting ourselves.
yeah,
And you know, and I think these kinds of discussions and these kinds of books are what helps us all to just work it out, that we just have to
hmm
keep talking and figuring it out in order to get somewhere personal for ourselves, so that we can help service our community. Like you know, this
yes,
conversation is only helpful to the community if it was helpful for me to understand something about myself and relate something that I've had trouble with communicating in my life. And I think that's true. And I think that, even my inability sometimes to talk without stuttering or not knowing what to say next,
Mm-hmm.
just even the process of sticking to it and then figuring out a way, even if it takes a half hour till you get to the right phrasing,
Yeah.
that didn't just help me. Hopefully, there are people who are superior to me and understanding and thinking they've been through this process, and they might be on a higher level, seriously on a higher level of between the different routes of the Kabbalah. They're the steps that climb. There are people who are of superior knowledge, not necessarily that they think that way, but they just are.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably not supposed to think of yourself as being more intelligent or more clear of understanding, but there are just people who are naturally on a higher level of evolution in terms of speaking and
Sure.
understanding themselves. I mean, like hopefully that what we'll do here is continue to grow and understand, and that comes through the struggle for me, partly the struggle of communicating and not remembering the names between nihilism and being able to laugh about it.
Yeah. I figured out the word. It's paradox. It's a
Paradox. Okay, now,
paradox.
all right, great. Let's hear it. What's the sense now?
So, well, I was saying that the horn with the mute in it, it's a paradox,
Yeah.
and maybe that's the reality. We live in our life is a paradox.
Yes.
Life shouldn't exist, and yet it does, and we're all here together participating it, as unlikely as it may seem. So,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
just I think that's just it's a picture of reality. Is life is a
Yeah.
paradox.
Yeah. I mean, I spend a lot of time just living alone with this book this week,
Yeah.
in the hope that then I can communicate something to a wider audience of understanding, or get them interested in reading this or some other thing, or
Yeah.
what are the
Well, what's so funny is and what I love is that we be become a part of the story. The story
yeah.
feels like such a meta story because we then, like we're just talking about now, we get the muted post horn. The muted post horn gets passed on to us and our interpretation of what it is and what it brought, to whatever interpretations it has out in the world. Like we become part of the story. We become that person in the bar who finds the post horn or has the story of the post horn, or is given the post horn and is given an explanation for the post horn. And who knows if that's the explanation, but we just kind of have to live our lives.
So I want everyone now to look around and look around them
Yeah.
when you're done, and look for the things that make you feel like you're in exile and
Yes.
you're isolated, and see if there's anything there that you can then relate back to us, that made you feel that you have now some hidden knowledge that you didn't have before.
Yeah. Yeah. Find your muted post horn. I mean, because he's talking.
Find your muted post.
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
out there. I promise. I promise you, it's out there. But yeah, I look forward to. Yeah, I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate you introducing me to this book and pressuring me to read it. And I look forward to talking about
The
more
best was
aspects of it.
last week. The very best in my one of the great moments in my life
Yeah.
was
Okay.
last week when you said we talked about this book already.
Right.
I was like, what? Oh my god! I now I know we've talked about this book.
Yeah. 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 Yes, I agree.
I'm,
Because
I'm
yeah,
trying to think if is there any funny moment from the book that we could leave people with? Uh,
mm,
uh, oh, I got one. I got
okay,
one. Yeah. So the band is playing, and Oedipa and Metzger are having sex, and she has an orgasm at the same time that the electricity blows out.
yeah, they both do.
Yeah,
It's a yeah.
and yeah, and that's is this great moment where the name of the band is the Paranoids.
Mm-hmm.
The Paranoids have blown a fuse.
Mm.
That's a line from the book.
I have to look at that again because
Yeah, yeah.
I missed that. But yeah,
It's a great moment. I think that's a great moment to end on.
for sure, for sure. Well, yeah, as always, an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
And yeah, next week, what's on the agenda for next week?
Confederacy of Dunces.
Confederacy of Dunces. Okay, I gotta take a look at it. I read it a couple years ago, but I'll have to find it again. I
You're
have to find
gonna
a copy.
that's a breezy book. That's a summer read.
Yeah, it's a fun read.
That's something that
Enjoy it.
just it's just fun. There are things in it that if you want, you can take your time with and unbox, but
Yeah,
that's the book that was never turned into a movie.
yeah. I'm gonna find the posthorn, and, and we could talk about it.
That's right.
All right,
Great chat.
great
Really
chat.
enjoyed it. Thank
Till
you.
next week.
I